I'm here to tell you that I am announcing to the world that I am probably the number one world's most mama's boy, and I have no shame about it because my mother was an amazing woman. And so that's why I'm here. My mom did some things for me that probably I wouldn't have time to tell today, but I would just tell you, how could you not respect a woman who would cook and go into a room and cook a meal and go into a room and shut the door? And I didn't realize until years later that she was going into that room and shutting that door because we didn't have enough food and she would not eat so we could. That's the kind of mom I had. And so after our lives were all straightened out and we seemed to be doing things really well, and my mom was in such a great place, we celebrated our birthdays together at my house. Wonderful time. We'd never had a Christmas dinner together my entire life. My family had never come together for Christmas. And we came together this Christmas. So happy. My mom was at my house. My family was at my house. We were having a good time. My mom just kind of walks over to me and says, "Hey, I got to go to the doctor. Can you take me?" She didn't drive because we drove her everywhere. And so I said, "Oh, sure. What day you have to go?" And so she told me. And so we made arrangements, and I was going to take her. And long story short, I work in healthcare, so we went to this hospital where I work naturally, and we basically went through the appointment. So once we got finished, I never will forget, we walked out. I have a friend, he's a gastroenterologist, and he's just an amazing guy. So he walks up to me, and he says, "Jeff, your mom's having belly issues? Bring her up the back. I'll scope her." And I'm sitting there thinking, "You're going to scope her?" Now, people, one thing I do know, and all of you should know, if you ever have an opportunity for free health care, you don't turn it down. So I whisk her through the back, and we go up through there, and we absolutely get this diagnostics done. And it was so awesome because she was laying there, and everything was wonderful. And we thought, well, we'll get this done. We'll go out to eat, and we'll be good. An hour to an hour and a half later, I saw my friend coming from the corner of the room. And as he was approaching me, I realized something. His face was red, and he had tears coming down his eyes. And I didn't realize until he got closer to me that he was really crying. And so he gets to the door, and he just says, "Jeff, can you come in?" And I go in, and we're standing there. And my mom's kind of a little groggy, but he wakes her up, and they start talking. And this is what he says to her. He says, "Mrs. Allen, I'm so sorry to tell you that the stomach problems you've been having and the stomach ache that you have is not what you were told. I'm so sorry to tell you have cancer." And I look at him and look at her, and I'm saying, this is not happening. Pretty much everyone in my family that has passed away from something else. We had never had a diagnosis of cancer in my family, and no one that died from cancer in my family. And so I'm standing there listening to this, and he just starts crying. And he breaks down, and he says, "The reason it took me so long is because I've been talking to Dr. Woodard, the oncologist. And we're trying to figure out what this is." And he said, "I've never seen anything like this. And I'm so sorry to tell you." And by that time, Dr. Woodard comes in the door. And Dr. Woodard, the oncologist, and our friends, and he is crying. So I know this is not good. So I'm standing there, and he's talking to my mom, and Dr. Woodard comes in, and he's getting himself together. He starts hugging me, and he basically says, "I think I know what this is." And so he says to my mother, "This is a rare form of gastric cancer." And he says, "I'm just going to tell you what we know about it." He said it was prevalent during the Japanese-American War. There were only a few cases, rare cases in the United States of America. And literally, that's pretty much all we know, the epidemiologists really think that this originated through eating raw foods. And literally, you're not going to believe this, but literally, this is what I did. I knee-jerk response and said, that means my mother cannot have this because we're Southern. We fry everything. We don't eat raw food. We don't do anything like that." And people were looking at me like I had something growing right here, right there. But the truth is that I was just grasping. So they continued to tell my mom the next phase. So my mom says, "What does this mean?" And they say to her, well, I'm sorry, Mrs. Allen. They have no treatments for this. They have no therapies. There's no chemo. There's no radiation. I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do for you. And I'm literally standing there. It's like my world just went into a circle and it slowed down, and I'm trying to figure this out because remember, we have been through, my mom has conquered everything. She was pretty much pummeled and beat weekly by my dad, and we got through it. She pretty much became an alcoholic trying to hide from the being beat, and we overcame that. And now our lives are good, and here this thing called cancer comes, and my God, what are we going to do? And not only that, they tell us that there's not anything we can do about it. And my mother, being the strong woman that she was, said, if that's what you're telling me, I want to go home. And I'm going, you're going home? Oh, no, we can't go home. Oh, no, we can't go home because I don't know how we are going to handle this thing. But they discharged my mother home with the diagnosis of rare gastric cancer and a prognosis to live for 6 months. I'm so sorry to tell you, we planned every holiday. If she's going to live for 6 months, we would experience every holiday in 6 months. We never got to experience one because my mother died in 29 days. 29 days, a healthy woman, and died 29 days after her diagnosis. Folks, that's why I'm here. That's why I'm passionate. That's why I'm over the top. That's why I have no care about people who say I am over the top, or I have no reserve about people who say I'm doing too much. Because when cancer takes something from you that precious, it should make you mad. It should make you upset. And it should make you want to do something about it. So that's why I chose to get involved with the American Cancer Society. Because it gave me the platform to do what? To fight back against this disease. I walked into a room after a friend, a cancer control nurse, invited me to a meeting, and she said, you know what? You go to this meeting? And I said, sure. So she took me to this meeting. I took my Baptist position, last middle table in the back. And I sat there, and I waited, and these people got to going, and this middle-aged white man gets up, and he has on a purple pimp suit, and he is running around the room. He is running around the room, and I'm like, what is going on with these people? And then this little petite lady, she had these hot pink pants with this big old purple bow, and she's swinging it around, and they start doing the conga, and they're going around the room, and they're just as happy as they could be. But I'm thinking they're strange. And by the time they got the conga line going on, I'm thinking, well, that wasn't it. This woman reaches back, she pulls off her hair, and she slings it in the audience. And I thought then, what in the world has Charlene got me into? If they start pulling out snakes, I'm out of this thing. I'm telling you, I was raised in the Church of God, and I grew up in the projects, but I had never seen anything like this a day in my life. This was strange. Well, come to find out, I was at a Relay for Life team captain meeting. And I watched these two people, that little woman and that man with the purple pimp suit. As things calmed down, they went up to the mic, and with tears streaming down the side of their eyes and grimaces on their face, they began to thank all the people in the room. And they just kept saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. Because of you, I'm alive. Because of you, I'm alive. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for Relaying for Life. I had no idea what they were talking about. I had no idea. But I knew that day I was forced. It was like it was providential because I was forced in my Baptist position to either get better about my situation or remain bitter about my situation. And folks, let me tell you, I chose to get better about it. I joined Relay for Life that night. I left there that night on fire. Only thing I knew was I had to connect with that purple man in the pimp suit and that little woman with no hair. And they were going to teach me some things, and we were going to turn the world upside down. How did I recruit 28 teams in 2 weeks after that? I just went to people and said, hey, you had a grandmother die from cancer. Hey, you had an aunt die from cancer. Didn't your sister not die from cancer? Come to this meeting I'm going to have. And some people were even saying, oh, is that American Cancer Society thing? I don't like the American Cancer Society. And I was so naive, I said, no, that's not a part of the American Cancer Society. Just come to the meeting. And the people came to the meeting. And little did they know they were roped in. They're avid ACS volunteers to this day. And so, folks, it is awesome. Whether it was by happen chance or just haphazard, I was able to connect to a greater good. And because I was able to do that, I am proud to say that I've been able to raise millions of dollars for the American Cancer Society. I don't regret not one day, not one time, not 1 minute, because I know because of that we have changed lives. We are absolutely the fuel for the American Cancer Society to continue the life-saving mission that it has absolutely been doing for years. And for that, I want you to give yourselves a big, big round of applause. So that is my story. So where are we going with this? It's simple. It doesn't stop there. I thought I had a get out of free cancer card because of all the work that I've done for the American Cancer Society. Nan told you about that day in Arizona. My life changed after Arizona 2007. I was a boy from the projects who wanted just to do good for my local project. I considered myself making it because I got out of it. I was going to help as many people as I can just to get out of it and live a good life. And God has sent me all over the world. One of the things I credit my mom for, when my mom was dying and she was laying on that bed and she said, I want you to scribe something to all my children. And when she got to me, this is what she said. She said, listen, I knew when you were in kindergarten, excuse me, that's not true, when you were in the first grade, you were going to be my challenged child. She said, it was because of the pictures you brought home. You drew pictures of homes I would never be able to afford you, cars I would never be able to give you, and places I would never be able to send you. That's why I always ask you to be the best you could always be, because one day you're going to go places. And ironically today, I've traveled all over the United States of America. I've traveled internationally telling Mildred Ross Allen's story, who had not the money to send me anywhere in her life. That is what the American Cancer Society has given me, a platform to motivate, to inspire people like you to go out and do the best that we can do to help save more lives. I said this earlier and I'll repeat it again. I used to wear the shirt that says, I'm tired, on the front. On the back, because I saved 90 lives. And today, folks, we can say that we're saving hundreds of lives every day. Give yourselves a big round of applause for that. And my life continues because my wife 4 years ago was diagnosed with a rare breast cancer. And that's where I thought I would have my get out of free cancer card. But not so. Times got hard. It made me want to quit. It made me want to give up. It made me tired. But I realized something. All of us, in the midst of everything we go through, have to have something we fight for. So today, you gave up your Saturday. You've been relaying for years. You've been doing things. But today, you gave up your time to devote to the American Cancer Society to make a difference. Let me tell you, I understand. I know it gets tired. I know you get tired of the complaining. I know you get tired of keep doing this. And also, let me acknowledge it, I know we're tired of the changes that we're going through with the American Cancer Society. But there's one thing that keeps me going, is my reason why. Can you come up here, please? Every one of you, no matter where we are, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, we all have a reason. I typically have this on the stage, on the screen. But this is my son, Caden. And 5 years ago, my son was born. His mommy was diagnosed with breast cancer 15 days after he was born. So he spent half of his life with his mom going through chemotherapy, radiation. And the last 5 years of his, all of his entire life, her being on tamoxifen. I'm proud to say to you that when I was in Florida about 3 years ago, I told them about what was going on. And the truth be told, come here, buddy. The truth be told, I was very sad. And we were wondering what was going to happen. But I'm proud to announce, because of the great work you've done and the things that you've helped the American Cancer Society do, my wife, 3.5 weeks ago, was dismissed from her oncologist. And she is in full remission. She does not have to take tamoxifen. She does not have to be on any other medicines. And I didn't like what the oncologist said to me, which was, she's great. She'll probably live longer than you will. So I want to say thank you. I want to say from the bottom of my heart, because of you, lives are saved and lives are changed. And more importantly, when you get tired, I ask you to go back and wrap your arms around the reason that you need to continue to do it. Caden is my reason. I want him to grow up a healthy young man, a strong young man, and to never have to worry about ever hearing the words, "You have cancer." I know it might seem crazy to you, but not for me. I believe in all my heart. When I started this journey some 17 years ago, I believe in all my heart, and I will not tire with it. We will find a cure for cancer. And I believe that nothing but death will keep us from it. God bless you. Have a great weekend. And Southeast, I love you, and let's continue to do this. Thank you so much for coming. Why do you relay, buddy?
Because my mom had breast cancer.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Have a great weekend. God bless you guys. Florida, Virginia, thank you so much for coming.